Hey Techno Freaks, Tech Nerd, and here continuing the character breakdowns for Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. This time we lust to destroy with the Cloud of Darkness.
Balance will be restored.
Back again on the Vanguard train, the Cloud of Darkness is a strong yet slow character, utilizing decent reach and poise to wear the opponent down, making them somewhat a vanguard of patience. This is to do with their passive ability. It doesn't really have a name, so I'm going to call it Umbral Charge. The passive works like so. After about 10 seconds, the Cloud of Darkness will be charged with void energy. This improves your BP attacks, making them deal more damage, increasing the poise window, and upping spell priority, while also increasing the distance the opponent is sent flying. This charge will last until you use it up by holding down the BP button when you start your attack, then proceeding to continue attacking as normal. It can be a little hard to get the timing of continuing the input strings, but it's pretty straightforward. BP attacks are as followed. The neutral ground toying appendages is a 3-input attack that consists of 2 horizontal swipes with the Cloud of Darkness's tendrils, finishing with a strong jab, sending the opponent flying for a wall rush. It has a good wide hitbox and can hit multiple opponents in front, but its vertical hitbox is terrible. Use its void version to poise through attacks or wall rush multiple targets if the opportunity arises. The forward ground appendages of Avarice is a 2-input attack similar to the Warrior of Light's forward air shield fling, where the Cloud of Darkness sends out their tendrils that flip the enemy behind them, then proceed to send them flying for a wall rush. This move would do better as an aerial, but we got what we got. It's still pretty good, the range is quite useful, and if you just do the 1 input, it can act like a 50-50 setup similar to Firion. You can also use the first input to land the enemy into friendly Y'shtola or Emperor traps, and use the full version if your back's against the wall to wall rush, or use the void enhanced version to send the ganker to the other side of the map to help turn the tides. The backwards ground is long-ranged particle beam, or as Square Enix has renamed it, Uncanny Beam. The move is simple enough. It acts like a BP attack version of Shining Wave. It has great range, follows the opponent if by only slightly, and has a medium priority, so cancels out most weak spells. Use it for crowd control and pokes, but also use the void version against marksmen like Terra, Ace and Ultimecia, as it will trade in your favour. The neutral merciful appendages is near enough the same as its ground counterpart, only the first 2 swipes are vertical instead of horizontal, but the finish is the same. This literally is the opposite pros cons wise as well. Great vertical hitbox, not so great horizontal hitbox, and can still trap multiple enemies, although a little bit harder. Use this as a follow-up on a wall rushed opponent if you need to, and if you have the charge version, follow up with that for more damage. Forward air, appendages of depravity, is an aerial version of Garland's real attack, where you use the tendrils to bring the opponent towards you, then send them flying forwards for the wall rush. Not much to say with this one. It's good for mid-range pokes, to bring people into traps and send opponents flying out of the fight with the void version, similar to how the ground forward was. The backwards air is Induction Beam, where the Cloud of Darkness sends 3 void orbs to the opponent. It has good tracking, lasts a good time, has medium priority, and the void version is high priority. It's best to fire these off and follow behind them. If the opponent blocks, we use the dash attack. Insulating appendages, probably one of the best dash attacks in the game. This sort of acts like Garland's drill without the ability to extend the duration. The move has Cloud of Darkness lash out with their tendrils in a protective orb. It can damage people coming in from behind if they have lower poise, and the void version is just nasty. Use this move a little early to trade blows, however be careful as we go on to the main problem with the C.O.D's BP attacks, and that main issue is they are very slow on startup, meaning the majority of the time if you and your opponent attack at the same time, unless it's a void enhanced version, you will most likely lose the trade. If you miss the attack, the slow recovery will often end in you getting punished, and the tracking is awful. For HP attacks, we start with Wide Angle Particle Beam, a sort of wave-like attack that doesn't really fit the wave-like attacks. Where moves like Shining Wave, Tsunami and Lord of Arms have longish range and a very good vertical hitbox, this has mid-range with a very good horizontal hitbox. It can also hit opponents from a wall rush or just throwing out at unaware enemies, and that's probably the best way to use it. The second HP attack is Diffusion Particle Beam, and spoilers, they're all called something something Particle Beam. A more close range conal attack, it has a faster startup than Wide Angle, but lacks in any range whatsoever, and its wall rush follow-up is not even really as good unless you are up close to the wall anyway. The third HP attack is Anti-Air Particle Beam, and if Diffusion Particle Beam was bad with range, this is dead on arrival. The saving grace is this move hits 360 around you, so it can be used to stop those pesky dive bomb assassins blindsiding. The fourth HP attack is High Speed Particle Beam, probably the slowest attack and also the longest ranged HP attack of their arsenal. It has a good AoE similar to Firian's Weapon Master, but unlike that move where you fire out the AoE from a safe distance, Cloud of Darkness is the AoE and they send themselves into the attack, creating an explosion. Now I think we already know which one I'm going to pick for the which one is best, and in my opinion Wide Angle Particle Beam takes the gold while High Speed comes in second. But in all honesty, I hated all of them. Wide Angle, while the best, still lacked the range I felt it needed. Diffusion was like pulling teeth trying to get the drop on people. Now I know it's not the best way to use it, but I was so close to an opponent and still missed. They didn't dodge, it was just a miss. And if I wanted a wall rush HP attack, I would go with the faster Anti-Air Particle Beam. And as for High Speed, it was a fun attack, and the mechanics of how the move works allows you to actually avoid certain attacks as you teleport through said attacks. But being the projectile means you are putting yourself in the firing range, but if they notice and dodge, you are done. Overall, it's safer to go with Wide Angle because it really is less risky. However, there may be a move that makes all of these redundant, so we'll go and talk about the EX skills, which we start with the unique EX skill, Umbral Torrent. Umbral Torrent basically allows you to stay in an Umbral Charge state for a set amount of time, allowing you an infinite amount of Void version attacks while the buff is active. But that's not all. While this buff is active, you'll be given a new unique EX skill. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the Zero Form Particle Beam, the Cloud of Darkness's most devastating attack. It has a wide hitbox, long range, and acts like a HP attack. Its only drawback is the long startup and the dumb tracking. Once again, this suffers from that stupid tracking that makes no sense. You fire where you're facing, the move takes forever, and you'll fire where you press the button instead of tracking to your opponent. But this odd design choice aside, it's brilliant on enemies not expecting it. However, once you do use it, you will lose the Umbral Torrent buff, regardless of how long was left. So try to use it if you have enough or an in cap, and if you are about to run out of torrent time. Now as for general skills, we know the meta, I don't think I need to go on about it. You don't know, I'ma just put the legend up in the corner, right about here, for future reference. Now let's talk about non-meta shenanigans, and we'll start with Boone. Boone allows certain active buffs to be extended upon activating it. However, unlike some buff skills, this has universal range. Universal range means anywhere on the map. Now Boone affects quite a lot of buffs, and that is including a certain Umbral Torrent, meaning you can activate Umbral Torrent, go into some attacks, activate Boone to extend Umbral Torrent's timer, and proceed to do more void attacks, then finally finish with a zero form. Now combine Boone with other buff skills like Mighty Strike, Revivify and HP regen. This makes you a great support character while also keeping enough damage capabilities for yourself. Now also don't forget about your good old friend Teleport, as the Cloud of Darkness really needs it. They will not even get halfway through some maps before that gauge is gone, so having Teleport even alongside Boone can still aid your team. As for team comp, definitely a Trapper, as you can use those traps to your advantage. Now remember, you have some of the best poise moves in the game, so trade with those puny assassins and make them one step closer to the void. For summons, Bahamut and Ramu are the best for you, but Shiva and Ifrit work as well.
Lick your wounds and taste your weakness.
Okay guys, that's it for today's breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell thingy, and share this video. Also, if you have any tips or tricks you found yourself, please share them in the comments section below. And finally, tune in next time, where both light and dark are at your beck and call with Cecil. But until that day, this has been Techno Odin. Take care.